Okay. So yes, we have issues still with storyboard.
Storyboard.
Yes, I know. But I would like to at least put, so I was right, it is 473 is the latest iteration in the development space. So that is a relevant question though. If I go here and do, yeah. But I think that is working in the production one.
Or I don't know if that's the way you do it. Try instead of 478, just in Cinder.
Why do the URLs have pound exclamation point? I don't. Garrett has a weird thing like that too. I don't know why.
Oh wait, that's for the board, not for the. I don't know. Just stick with the number for now, I guess.
Yeah. On the bright side, we can actually search for it now.
Search works? Wow, they have made progress.
I mean, it's not fast, but you can search, or well, maybe it was up here that I searched for it. Well, now that it's doing two things at once, it'll probably catch fire.
Were the story numbers supposed to correlate to the launchpad number? Is that how that worked?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay, so there is openstack-cinder. Okay,
Oh.
project
No,
473.
it doesn't.
It doesn't?
Well, I just opened the Cinder one and no.
I believe it was supposed to.
Yeah, so the
Yeah, I
links
thought
are
so,
not working here yet. But I'm pretty sure that in the production one,
So I got 1 to 0 of 10. I don't see some anywhere.
Oh, you're using that new math.
Gosh, I gave up on this a while ago. Again, I tried to search OpenStack/Cinder. And I got 1 to 0 of 10 results, and Cinder is nowhere on the page. I got OpenStack Infra Garrett, Gearman plugin, Gear, Elastic Recheck.
Where
Stack.
are you searching?
I use the search bar.
are you on
There's
this
a big search.
storyboard dev or storyboard?
Oh, I'm storyboard dev.
Yeah, there's no oh wait, no, storyboard dev there should be. So here's what I get.
Okay.
So for instance, run Python 3 by default. Is that actually?
So that's the one I clicked on. The first thing you see in there is that there's weird characters in the bug text that probably shouldn't be there.
Oh, yeah.
They look different on your computer. Weird. So where's the launchpad bug for this? I was going to compare them and I don't know how to find it.
Well, shouldn't it have the same number as this task?
It's supposed to.
Well, that's what I thought.
It's still linked.
That's what I thought.
1777 something.
It doesn't seem to.
777142.
That's not even the one I'm looking at. Which one? Oh, there's two.
Yeah.
There's another one right below it. It's very similar.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Cinder run under and run under.
So we have 874 bugs in here that are to do. That's nice.
Oh, is that the overall story?
That's for other projects too, I think.
Oh,
Still seems like a lot of bugs.
So,
It's kind of confusing if that's showing the overall story and the individual tasks.
it must be just the tasks for, though how there are 874.
So I see in my dashboard, I have tasks assigned to me, and I clicked on one, and it doesn't, like it goes to the story page. Oh, there it is. It just takes.
Okay, so the number does not correspond to the bug.
No.
In Launchpad. So why did they say that it needed to?
I don't know, but if it's not going to, it probably at least needs to add a link to the old one or
Yeah.
something. But the reason it needed to was so that when you click on, closes bug and a commit message in Garrett, you can still find your way to the right thing. That was the reason that we were going to do that. Plus all the, bajillion emails out there where people are talking about fixing bug number, whatever.
Comments and code about bug number.
So if I want to report a security issue, I'm supposed to create a story about it.
Yeah.
This one time, I was installing Cinder, and it seemed really insecure.
It's a dark and stormy night. Trying to get my Cinder node
Is
out.
that because when you're deploying Cinder, you drink Dark and Stormies?
Okay, so create new story. There is a
Private or security
terrible
vulnerability.
Security.
So this is the problem with the security bugs, is that there's a button that says it is one, but it doesn't know where to send it.
Oh.
So the user is going to have to go figure out who they're supposed to send it to, and presumably not pick somebody who's not supposed to see it.
Mom secure. Storyboard bros.
Storyboard bros.
If you search on S, the first thing that pops up is Storyboard Bros.
I mean, sure.
So I think they were going to create a list of people for security bugs.
What, you have to go read it and type your name in?
Yeah.
It's not really much better. I mean, it's, I don't know. Even ignoring the security thing, what happens when you if you just write a bug against Cinder, I guess it just goes in and it's assigned to nobody, right? So that makes sense. I don't know.
Welcome to Storybird's documentation.
Nothing comes up when I search for Jungle Boy.
I'm hiding.
Behind your actual name.
Yes.
Clever.
Right, so it seems that we what's the name of the group that does security?
Oh, there's the VMT, and then there's Cinder Corsec. I think that's a group.
So VMT is not it.
OSSA, I don't know. It worries me that like this is not one of the highest priority things for them to resolve with this.
Okay.
Because we can't have a bug tracker that can't like reasonably intake security bugs, or we're going to end up with a big problem.
Oh, okay. There is a VMT group out in the production storyboard.
This also highlights one of the other complaints we had before. You can't type in like somebody's email address and find them. Like if you go assign person, you can't type like eHarney. You have to type like my first name, last name, which is the opposite of how like every single bug tracker ever works.
Consider security. Okay, so I'm guessing that they've got it solved out in the production one, but not in the development one.
Have one solved.
There's a VMT group.
Oh, well then, I mean,
They really should get that into the development so that people can test it.
Yeah,
it still doesn't matter if it doesn't assign it by default when you click security bug, because no one's going to know to type that in there.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, I mean,
so should I open another bug against storyboard for that?
I feel like
And open the
Did we not-
bug for lack of documentation that there's no VMT? Or no documentation for adding.
do they
VMT?
really, surely they have some bug about the security thing already. I don't know. I mean, we talked about it numerous times. I don't know if there's a bug or not. So what's supposed to be on the Cinder board?
Well, that's part of what I'm wanted to design today.
Oh, because if you go to it now, it's kind of just
Yeah,
doesn't
because
do anything.
yeah, because I can't create anything on it yet.
Oh,
Um,
will.
I don't see any bugs on against issues with security. So I'm going to open them and they can close in duplicate or whatever. Okay.
at least need documentation somewhere how those are supposed to be handled.
What's that?
We at least need documentation somewhere about how security bugs are supposed to be handled.
Yeah. So I'm going to open a bug for the fact that it appears that our Launchpad bug numbers don't correlate with the story numbers that are created in Storyboard. open an issue for the fact that there's nothing that describes how to open a security bug. Open a bug for the fact that you can't see storyboard dev, see the VMT in storyboard dev. Other things I should open a bug against.
Do I remember correctly that there's like a non-web client for this thing?
Yes, there is an API.
There's an API. Okay.
Yes. All right. So let's maybe, rather than cratering around everything that doesn't work, I would like to put a little bit of thought as a group into, if it were to work, how would we use it?
Why don't we try to like do like a blueprint and a bug and just see what we observe?
I tried that and it doesn't work yet.
There's not a lot we can do
Why are we-
until.
So why are we wasting our time? Seriously.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna have to deal with this at
Well, yeah.
some point.
But if we
So
can't even,
for at least one bug, the storyboard number does correspond to the launchpad number.
Okay.
So you should put the bug that you found where it doesn't,
Okay.
because otherwise they're going to stay
Oh, I wonder if it's one that was created in storyboard then
all after the
after
import.
the
yeah.
import.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'll need to take a look at that a little bit more before I open that bug.
but I mean, I kind of agree with what Walton was saying.
Yeah.
If we can't actually like test it, then like why do we care? Like if we can't actually do anything with it yet.
The only thing we could do is just sit down and write down the specific features that are preventing us from making it useful.
But it's hard to even figure out what those are until we like use the thing. I mean, I guess we could wander around and. So what's the thing like? I mean, can we make bugs in some other board or?
We filed bugs in Launchpad about storyboard.
No, I mean you were saying because you were saying you can't make bugs yet. Is it like an access
Oh, no, I
control
can-
thing, or
I can make bugs. I just can't do any of the organization that I wanted to propose. So give me 30 seconds to let me draw out what I'm thinking. And you guys can tell me about pound salt or I'll go sit in the bathroom.
So if you want to do a bug, you just add a story. Is that the,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
basically.
positive bugs.
So
okay, and then
So it
Okay,
mixes bugs and task tracking.
Yeah.
Kind of like Epic.
Well, and that's the main thing is if we're gonna actually use this as a bug tracker, nobody knows what the actual workflow looks like yet,
Yeah.
which is terrifying to me.
And there's not really guidance because they're saying each team can kind of design how they want
Which
to do that.
pisses me off. They're like, oh, just do what you
Yeah,
want.
I mean, one of the nice things of having a bug tracker is that there's usually structure.
Yes.
So
Well, and then you have the
every-
bad experience, especially if you're trying to do cross-project things. Is if each project does a different way that they handle it, it's not going to. That lack of consistency is going to kill it. What would you use Trello?
Oh, yeah, I would rather do that, but, and so I'm thinking, for each release, we'll have, instead of having our Etherpad, we'll have a work list for it.
Already broke it. Anyway. I'm listening.
Up here for a minute. So we'll have a work list for each release of work that's in, work to do and what's completed. Have a list of gate blockers, and then whatever work lists we want to put together to like bring bugs to the front. And then for each of these, like we'd have a story for this, and that would have in it. So this is replacing the current spec process. and the
Well,
work that we do.
no, it's more the blueprint.
Sorry, the blueprint process with the stuff that we've been doing also then in Etherpad. So each of these would have, story A, and task 1 would be spec, and task 2 would be for code reviews. And so when they write the spec, they would do it against story A, task XYZ, and then when they write the code for it, it'd be against story A and then the code review that goes with it.
And we could conceivably make tasks for make some CI stuff that would be relevant.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
whatever.
So if it had a CLI impact,
Well, CI, or CLI.
so see, this is the kind of productive thinking I wanted to do, so that when we have to do this, we can make it useful at least.
Yeah.
So this would be a way that we could then have a horizon task.
Oh yeah, because the tasks are assigned to projects, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you could have one story, like if it was a new feature, you would have a spec and code and stuff on Cinder, and then you would have maybe code on the client, and then maybe another one for Horizon. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that way, we can track for each new feature, when they bring up the idea of designing it for a PDG or whatever, we create the story, we decide what tasks we need, we get it started, we have it in our Stein work list, and some of these then would move to train if they're not done.
Yeah.
So we would, so if story 1 was done, it would move here. And if story 2 didn't get completed, we would move it on to our
There's
work
already
list.
one problem with that, is that if you retarget a feature to a new release, it gets a new ID and everything, right? If it's a different story. Or these are dashboards.
These are dashboards. This
So-
is just a work list. So I
Yeah,
don't,
okay, so you don't change the story.
no, I would just take it and move it.
So how do you actually do that? Do you just go edit the work list and you just put stuff in there, or is it
Yes.
like tag thing?
Or we can associate tags,
That's probably what we'd want to do, is tag
it.
them. Because otherwise it'd be a real hassle to ever adjust the lists, I think.
Okay, so that's the other thing I wanted to talk about then, is tags. So we would have like the Cinder -release tag. And then I can set up the work lists to find things that are targeted to that release.
We're still talking mostly about blueprint, RFE kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, for
Yeah.
new features, but then also any bug that came along that we needed to target towards a release, we could do that
Yeah.
too. I mean, I think we want to use a little more process around new features and keeping the pieces of work that go with them organized.
Yeah.
Then we would have like a Cinder gate tag that would organize things that are gate issues. Do we want to keep the existing tags that we have, like drivers, low-hanging fruit?
Drivers is pretty handy, I think.
Yeah.
Low-hanging fruit is an awesome idea, but we don't seem to use it a whole lot anymore. We probably could.
It'd be good if we could, because there are people that come by semi-regularly looking for ways they can do something.
We could probably avoid the cinder tag. For cinder
Yeah.
bug.
Well, and I think we should probably start all our tags with Cinder, because I think they're.
We may have
Is it,
to.
it's a global scope for tags?
I think
Yeah,
so.
probably.
Well, yeah, since the tags are on the story, and the story can cover any number of components, I think they kind of have to be global.
Um, oh. Um,
Yeah, I was just trying to think of how I wanted to consider the backboard stuff too.
because that's another work list we would probably have. So things that
Yeah.
are candidates for backboard.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out if that actually works. If you just use one tag, or if you need a tag per release, or what. I don't know. Because when does it fall off the board for backboard? If you have a dashboard,
Not sure.
I think you almost need like a dashboard that's like backports to Rocky, backports to Queens, because otherwise I don't know how you would know that you were ever like finished.
Okay.
But that may be a minor detail. But
What are other useful things to track? I had a list.
well, I think a lot more about bugs than feature stuff with this.
Okay.
So,
Grumpy bug guy, tell me what to do.
are we gonna? I assume we're gonna get it wired up where it gets comments from Jarrett, like Launchpad does.
Yeah, it already does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. What are the states that we actually have? So we've got tasks have review, to do, merge, I don't know what any of these tags mean. Like one of the tag options is progress. Like what does that just mean something's happening? Can we define these like in our project, or is this just a storyboard thing?
I think that's a storyboard thing, but I am not sure.
So I would assume, not reading storyboard documentation, that review being the first one here means like review the bug itself. And then to do might mean that you've actually like realized you need to do something with it. I don't know.
So to do means it hasn't been worked on yet.
So what does review mean?
I think that means it's ready to be reviewed and then merged, obviously, or in progress.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I was thinking about, so for bugs or other changes, the other thing we could do here is, so like a couple of these issues we've been talking about, story B, task, driver 1, driver 2. So we can go in for things that cover multiple drivers that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
could at least track for a certain fix what drivers it's been fixed against.
Yeah.
So that's one other way we can use this. Okay, I kind of addressed how we would note if there's a client impact or a horizon impact. So it sounds like we would like to keep a number of the tags, but get rid of
Chat
this.
was asking when we're resuming.
Oh.
Are we not on the thing?
I thought I started the hangout.
Is it a different Hangout link and these may be on the old one yet?
Oh,
No,
We have Gorka and
and Sophia.
Is anyone there? Okay.
Take that as a yes.
yeah.
it's a
I
party.
bet he's on the old link or something.
I mean, Gorka probably went somewhere by now. But
Yeah.
He's having a beer.
So, is there a way for me to go to the Cinder component? I don't even know which thing. Component, I guess, and say email me all the bugs that pop up on this thing.
So that would be on the Cinder project.
It's a pretty,
Because now we, even though I don't think a lot of people follow it, we do have the thing that for someone to contribute a driver, they're supposed to subscribe for any bugs that are opened against their driver.
well, and I mean, I read
Yeah.
bugs via emails.
But you do, but some of these driver maintainers,
Yeah,
that would be the only way they'd get notified.
but I mean, can you even say that hit star? I don't know what star does.
Oh, I think that is subscribe.
It doesn't say, it just changes the color of the
Yeah.
star.
Just to make you feel special, give it a star.
There's also in your preferences, there's a enable notification emails and enable work list notifications.
Okay, so if I turn those on, does the storyboard dev site actually send email? Do we know?
I do not know.
I'm gonna assume it might. Let's see what happens.
So what's the difference between a work list and a board?
So a board is a group of work lists.
Oh, okay. All right, so each one of those lists up there would be a work list
Right.
on the Cinder board.
What are lanes?
That's,
Oh, that's, okay, that's what the lanes are?
yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Holy shit.
Huh?
Okay. So it was creating my work lists, but not showing it on my board for whatever reason. Okay. So in this case, for Stein work items, I can set it to automatic, and then I can set criteria.
Oh, I might have another request.
Okay.
Is there a closes duplicate function in this?
Uh,
We actually do that like fairly often.
yeah.
I don't think there is yet.
That's kind of normal bug tracker stuff.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to mark something as a duplicate.
Well, what we're gonna have to do now is mark it as invalid, write a comment that says go over here. my worry is that the design your own process idea is going to force that kind of behavior in a lot of stuff.
And I think that was my original concern. And they said, the idea is that you get to do what you want to do.
But I don't want to. I want it to have a very defined structure.
I know, I totally agree. But I was not consulted on any of this, nor will I be.
Oh, I see your work, man. Right, so your Stein, so you did the Stein work item, Stein completed work. Maybe there's somebody else, because there's
Yeah.
a whole bunch of Stein work item work lists that are just floating around.
So the
Maybe he was-
500 wasn't on creating it, it was on
He was
actually
making
showing
it,
you
but-
what it created.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Or did they get created and they're not attached to the board?
Right,
Something.
because Cinder board
Oh,
is
yeah.
empty.
Cinderboard's empty, but there's all these work lists.
All right, oh jeez, okay.
But you have to wait and wait and wait until
This is, okay.
seems like it needs some indexes or something.
Believe it or not, it's better than it used to be.
It is surprisingly slow for something that doesn't have a lot of content.
This might be running on like Kendall's laptop or something.
Bye.
So
Change Cinder API, how's that? That is a work list, okay.
So if you make this thing with the dashboard and the work lists, are you the only person that can like change the work list stuff, or like how does?
I think I can add owners who can then change it as well.
Okay.
And then there are users. I don't know what the difference between the two is. I would need to read documentation on that. And no, it's not running on Kendall's laptop because then it would never be up. So
Recording. Okay.
strike that from the record. So I guess I can kind of, I don't understand why the board isn't working. Oh.
Oh, you can embed pictures. It's a markdown feature. I wanted to know if it would work. Looks like it does. Just put a picture of Denver on the bug. Because it was the picture on openstack.org that I found first. So at least we can do GIFs. Should that become a requirement?
Priorities.
I wonder what other interesting things Markdown does.
No. I can create boards. I can't put cards in the boards. Or,
You have 500.
yeah.
But did they put it in there now and it's just not showing you the results?
And I can click on it and it lets me try to create a task, but the work lane goes away. Oh, God. Blessed.
I propose we delay, put off storyboard until next release.
Oh, well, there are bugs that are actually assigned to me. Oh, this is why that other one, I accidentally tried to open a bug against storyboard in storyboard dev instead of storyboard. So that explains that.
So they appear to have permalinks to comments. That's interesting. I guess you can't edit the descriptions, or maybe you can. Oh, you can. Okay.
No, I'm not sharing my screen. That's not really helpful to anybody online. Sorry. Okay.
What does the automatic button do if you go to new work list? It looks like
That's
maybe
where
it tries
you
to
can-
populate it somehow.
That's where we would set up the tags that we want to look for or
Cool.
what have you to create that work
That
list.
makes sense. Where did it go?
Oh, that's good. Story I just created that was supposed to go into Stein work did not end up there. Okay, I was able to get it there. That's something. Okay, so can you not create a task right here? Do I have to go? No. How do I add a task to this? Oh, add task affecting this project.
Why do we have a config option to set the group API class?
Okay. So then the other thing we could do is requests, Cinder, Stein work. Edit, make it automatic. If stories, not stories. All right, so you're right. Let's not waste more time on this right now. I will start opening bugs against storyboard and see what happens. Are we kind of okay with this?
I got a HTTP 500 on login. It's too. I mean, I've hit like 20 different 500s just sitting here poking at this thing. It's not really.
Are we okay if I try to document something up that this is what we eventually want to do in the case that storyboard works?
Yeah, it seems.
That's a good first stab at it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to. I'm gonna.
What's kind of, and maybe there's a way to do this. Nice thing that I liked in Launchpad was the ability to target for release, for like milestones or whatever. So you could set those up and then.
Oh,
I think
then
it's
you had-
all. I think they're gonna say it's all about tags.
Yeah, so I guess this way, right? You just have to. It looks like this thing's going to be very flexible as long as we're willing to do a shitload of work.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced that's a good thing, but I mean, if Launchpad's going away, I guess that's the way it goes.
it could be very flexible if it functioned.
Well, that too. I mean, yeah. So this, right. So hitting the 500s a lot is a real roadblock to trying it out and doing anything. Yeah. All right. But no, I agree. It makes sense as a way to try to start organizing this stuff. And I guess the other thing is just getting used to the stories having tasks. And when you assign a project to, when you add a project to a task, it creates another task in that project. I guess they're also, I got lost in, it was taking too long to find stuff. I guess the links are maintained between everything somehow. Anyway, I'm not being helpful. Yeah, I think, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just logging into the storyboard channel to see who's out there. Asking Fungi if storyboard dev is supposed to be in a healthy state or if it's just fudged. Sorry. So your confusion is the tasks.
Well, let's wait till it works, and I'll just adapt.
I mean, basically the idea is first, for new functions, the story will be the top level organization of development for that. In other words, the story acts as the bug.
Okay.
And if there are subtasks that need to be completed to resolve that story,
Okay, those will show up on there.
then you create tasks under the story
Okay.
to do further organization.
Okay.
Interesting, it should be functional, checking, but also the weekly storyboard meeting is underway at the moment.
We could just show
That's a
up.
good time to dump some bugs in there.
All right, let's move on. I've reached my peak of frustration on this already. I can log in and browse around.
Unless you issue you auth tokens that last a decade.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah.
Did you open an old tab? Is that why it's not working? No.
Okay, is this not a multi-tab webpage?
Details help. Yes. I understand.
Stein story.
All right. Deep breaths. In with the good, out with the bad. All right. I will continue to work that and bring it up in weekly meetings on occasion. We at least have a high level direction. I will go that way. I will remain zen and positive. Okay. Since we've got extra time, do we want to pull in topics from tomorrow and get them over with?
Sure.
Would you like to talk about migrating to Olympic?
Oh, that.
To what? The thing that you put on here.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I said Olympic, didn't I?
Sorry, I thought you said Olympic.
Yeah.
I was thinking, no, not another.
Now what's that?
It's the new pool feature that we're putting in.
Yeah. I don't know what really you can say about it, but just recently I happened to be in the right channel where they were talking about the fact that SQL Alchemy Migrate has been deprecated for several years now. And that the maintainers are, the recommendation has been that projects should move off of that and be using Alembic.
Which a few have.
A few have, yes.
I remember when Neutron did this, it was painful.
The move is painful, but I got the impression that Olympic actually looked pretty nice.
Yeah, I haven't really had any time to play around with it, but it seems like it gives you some flexibility. Well, and Glance did the migration too.
Yeah, it's time consuming because you got a lot of testing and stuff to do. And to get the test set up, tests all use mix-ins, so you got to be familiar with that kind of testing setup. And we did the rolling upgrades at the same time, and we have this complicated trigger mechanism that we use to. I think the Glance migration was more complicated than it needs to be. Because you already have live upgrades pretty much worked out how you do it.
Rolling up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think it's just, I don't know, we did it maybe 2 years ago. So I think the tooling has gotten better. Because we've got some weird stuff in there where we decide, we named this, instead of assigning numbers to the scripts, we've organized them by release. And then within the release, whether it's a expand, migrate, or contract script. And that's going to bite us in the ass because we order the scripts alphabetically. So once we go back to A, we're going to be toast. So
Limbic will be deprecated by then.
yeah, right. We'll have to migrate to something else. So maybe that problem will solve.
Third time's a charm.
So don't use alphabetical order.
I don't. Yeah, right. I wouldn't suggest that. So it was Hemant and this guy from Intel worked on the migration stuff. So there's some weird things in the code because we didn't know how to do it otherwise. So I'm saying is you might want to look at Glance, but I would not use it as like a reference implementation for how to do this. But it's going to be, I think, conceptually, it's not bad. It's just, it's going to require setup and testing to make sure these things still work. And then I think the other thing I had mentioned at that meeting that one time was we just decided we weren't going to support pre-Liberty. So basically, our very first script started with Liberty, so we could start with Stein.
We've already done that in the.
Yeah, for a while there,
Okay.
every release I was
Compressing.
compressing.
Okay.
So the first initialization script
Good. Okay.
got you right to the point you needed to be, so we didn't have to iterate
Yeah.
through each one.
Okay.
So we're not too bad for that. It's been
The
a
official
couple of
OpenStack policies you can't roll back, so
Yeah.
we just put that in our documentation.
Yeah, we removed rollback capability a few releases ago too.
Okay. So it might not be too bad, but you'll have to restructure all your migration tests to handle the new setup.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like the hardest thing is figuring out how to do tests to make sure that the new code generates the exact same database that we have
Right.
generated by the current code.
And we did for one release, we had both types. So we had the old style scripts and the new ones, just in case we had some kind of major fuck up that we didn't detect in testing. But it seemed to work fine. So
I was going to ask that.
that's if there was a bug, but it was in the offline migration. If you did the offline migrations, everything was fine. So yeah.
So that I noticed that SQL Alchemy code is still in Glance. Can that get cleaned up now?
Yeah, it should be because there should be nothing that uses it anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's a technical debt thing. We never did go back.
So this only affects the offline migrations, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the online ones are just like
Barcode.
industrial
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. So Zeke is the maintainer. She's the one that brought this up. It sounded like he was willing to work with projects to get them, to help them get moved off of SQL Alchemy and migrate, so he doesn't have to maintain it anymore. But I did ask when they were having the discussion if he had like a guide, kind of a how-to or tips on how to do that migration. Never really got an answer. So we could maybe try to track him down and see if he could help us do it. Yeah, so something if someone is motivated they could pick up. Otherwise, it can stay out there as a to-do for whenever we're forced to do it.
Right.
guess that's it for the topic. Since no one else has anything.
Um,
No one's jumping up to
Sounds like a
volunteer for the
reasonable
work.
thing to do.
Yeah. I forget there was something. Oh yeah, Tommy, like, there's something that he was trying to do, and it was a downstream thing, so there wasn't a lot of motivation. But it looked like some of the things that they were doing might be made easier by how things are handled in Alembic versus SQL Alchemy Migrate. So if other downstream distros are doing anything like that, it might end up being a nice thing for us to have too.
What were you doing?
Reading your email.
No.
I was just going all over the place. I don't know. They have logs if they really want to find 500s, right?
I hope so.
I would hope that as part of running the dev thing, somebody looks at all the stuff in the logs that goes up, but I don't know.
There we go. I just shat in their meeting, so.
Hey.
All right. Zeke wants to get off of it bad enough to help us move.
Does he maintain the migration part, or is that a different thing?
I think he's the maintainer.
Okay, so is there a to-do to come out of this?
Try to con somebody into
Yeah.
picking it up.
Volunteers welcome. Or else it'll just be out there as one of our to-dos that one of us eventually is.
Do we have anybody who's really interested in databases?
Just the one guy.
At one point I was, but that was because my employer paid me to be.
This might be too bad. I mean, since you handle the online migrations and code, then this should be fairly straightforward. So it's even the kind of thing that an outreachy person could do over the summer.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, and be some interesting learning because you have the testing with the mix-ins. I mean, it's
Yeah,
some
and
stuff
there's
to learn.
other projects that they could
That's true.
use as a reference point. So it's not
Yeah, and they could
unreasonable that an
potentially-
intern or something could do that over a couple months.
Yeah, and they could help any other project who's don't procrastinate.
Does this become easier to do if we do another roll-up in the current system first?
We might want to do that first because now I forget, it's been on several releases now, I think, since I've
Yeah.
done that.
But I think you'll want to just so that for testing purposes, I wouldn't roll up so that you don't have anything past
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
roll up to
so.
like maybe 2 in the past, and then
Yeah,
you'd have a couple, and then you could, after everything's tested out, you could roll everything up for the release. I
Yeah.
guess, but it'd be helpful to, it'd be helpful to have just 1 or 2 migrations that you have to do, just so that you know that you can get more than one step done correctly.
yeah, it might be useful if we can have a test that does the SQL Alchemy migrate, and and then does the limbic migrate, and then it compares the schemas of the databases to make sure that there's nothing different.
Yeah.
Thought we had something that did that because someone found Dulick found an issue when I did one of the roll-ups.
Yeah, I remember there being an issue in there, but I don't remember if there was any
Just like the
particular
SQLite
tool.
database had something just slightly different.
Yeah, it seems like somebody might have just been doing like a database dump and
That might have been
comparing
it.
it somehow.
Yeah,
Not sure if there was actually a tool for it or not.
yeah. But it was I think they scripted it, so it conceivably we could have a job that scripts up
Yeah.
doing each one and then diffing the output. Good thing for an intern to look into. Hi, Jay.
Hi, how's it going? Anybody else want to do? Okay. When was the last time you did roll up migrations?
I suppose that'd be easy to figure out.
I think we've maybe finally slowed down a little bit on how many we have.
Well, yeah, there hasn't
Yeah.
been that many database changes.
I think we have more placeholders than we have actual changes.
We have a lot of places.
Up to Newton. So yeah, we could roll that forward a couple more, at least to Okada. That would get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different migrations and a bunch of placeholders. Yeah, it looks like over the last few releases we've been. Oh, actually, the last couple of releases, looks like Rocky we had 2 and Queens we had 1. So, yeah, things have really slowed down as far as needing to modify the database schema. But prior to that, it was about 5 or 6 per release.
Okay. Cool. All right, so it's a to-do out there if anybody is so motivated. All right. Another topic I'd put out there for tomorrow was just kind of a general discussion on current core participation review. Current core participation. Anybody want to talk about that?
How's it going, Well?
It's gone. You want me to do more reviews?
Yes, please, I miss you.
I've been trying. Okay,
So have people been using the priority dashboard?
I have not seen that.
Not as much
What?
as I intended to, honestly. I think it's a good idea, but I don't use it.
Yeah, I still like the idea. I haven't really gone out and set priority on much lately.
I used it enough to complain that we had stuff marked as priority that shouldn't be. Other than that.
Well, we have no priorities at the moment,
All
apparently.
right, good. We're done.
Oh, but you say we want to import the Cinderloop code.
Yeah, I thought we had said that we wanted to do that.
Yeah, because that one had a deadline, basically,
Yeah.
was the reason, I think.
Yeah, but now all the questions raised yesterday.
One question with this dashboard is what's the difference between flagging something as minus priority, which I guess is shown as block reviews,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's like
versus minus workflow? Is it that this is sticky, I guess? The
yeah,
review priority
it's
flag?
like a core doing a -2, code review -2,
Yeah,
but it's
I guess I'm not sure why we had that list, because it seems like it's the same thing as, I don't know.
Host Nexus.
well, we don't need to do the -2s because now we can just set
Host Nexus.
code review or review priority -1. It just makes it clear that we're holding it just because of
Yeah.
where we are in the cycle, or, it's not that there's something really wrong with the patch and we don't want it.
But somebody can still accidentally merge something. That's
They can't, it'll act, if there's a review priority -1, it will not.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
I guess that's why it has an X instead of a -1. Apparently I did it on my own patch because I just put up a test patch and just hit minus every
And you
day.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it really need to be on the dashboard?
But for me, I think the +2 and the +1 has been
Yeah.
a little useful. At least okay, this is really important stuff that we got to get done.
Yeah, I think it is useful.
And if I only have 10 minutes to do reviews, then I'm gonna concentrate on these first before all the other ones. So, like for you, the hope is that it makes it easier for you. So when you do have time,
Yeah.
you could just go to here and not have to review patches, changing HTTP to HTTPS. And
Yeah, yeah. I've been using that old dashboard that Mike
Yeah.
used ages ago, and that does help me a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one still too, and I like that for. I'll still go out there and look at what patches already have 1+2 and just need another one.
That's what I've been doing too. When I have like 5 minutes, I'll go hit that and like, okay, this one looks
Yeah.
improvement.
Maybe pull that into the review priority dashboard too, because presumably if they already have a +2, then it's a good one to potentially
Yeah.
get out of there.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed that even the ones that are listed there, some of those that have a +2 go into them, there's a -1 on some of them. as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the +2 just means we should review it.
Yeah.
Everybody dizzy yet? Yes, that's all the typing I've done over the last 2 days. I have fingers of steel.
Drops off pretty quick now.
Yeah,
Used to be a slower.
I at least am a little less worried that it's only 2 people reviewing.
There you are, Brandon. You're already beating 2 other cores, so you're one of the top reviewers.
There's motivation for you all.
Yeah.
Little friendly competition. I mean, come on. You've almost got Helen beating
Shit.
you.
Yeah, okay, that's really not good.
How bad are open reviews right now?
Yeah, this is another one I like to look at, those longest waiting reviews. 219 days for, well, that's a whip. So, actually, is that yours or?
Probably. I have a lot of old patches
Yeah.
up there.
I seem to
Probably like
remember,
half of those are mine, as far as the old ones.
remember a few going, Eric, do we still need this? I'll try to do that once in a while. I'll just go here and try to hit some of the oldest reviews to try to get them out of the way.
That top oldest review is kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a proposal that's very related to what we were talking about with the HA stuff earlier.
Can you go to that, Jay?
Apparently Tommy Lake was looking at it.
The whip? The introduced West Manager State store?
Well, it's a whip, but it's a spec.
Oh, it's a spec.
And it actually, at a glance, sounds a lot like what we were just talking about earlier. About persisting stats somewhere other than in memory.
Oh, right, because, yeah, Tommy was trying to do something about that, and that's where we got into the idea of, well, can placeholder or placement handle some of this, because they're already doing similar type of things, and then we have PTG discussions and farm discussions, and nothing ever happened. So yeah, this is trying to address that issue.
So do we want to, is they're gonna pick this patch up and update it, or do we want to abandon it and start over?
Yeah. Where did we end up on this discussion earlier?
Mostly at doing risk assessment for now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe just leave it out there for a little while longer until we come up with a plan.
Okay.
Until we have that risk assessment and decide if we need to do something.
Where did you get that list of, that thing?
Cinderstats. I've heard it bothways.com.
You don't know that URL?
Oh,
That's
It's
my.
very official sounding.
I've got a few scripts that I run and publish the output
Okay.
to this page, and
I've heard it both ways.
I'm electronicjumble.net and has heard it both ways. Which really seems like something
if
that,
you just go to .com, then there's kind of
Okay.
like a little link dashboard that has
Okay.
a few useful things.
it really sounds like something that John Griffith should own,
What?
that domain name.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah. And then you've got I've had it both ways, but that's that's a different website.
That's not my website.
See, okay.
So these scripts, there's different scripts that are out in different repos that have a little work, so but I'm not. Have a cron job, run the scripts,
Use
take the output.
implementation for peer
Free
persistence.
GCs.
Wow, you can say that.
Oh, okay.
Right.
What's that?
That's a really long title.
Pretty useful.
But anything
Yeah.
that says first attempt at a naive implementation
Okay.
does not make me.
No. Minus 2. Just because the title.
More than 54 characters. Mine's 2.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like the old days.
That's the old days. Yeah.
Wait, is there a period on the end or isn't there?
Exactly. Oh my god.
Ruben
Incorrect use of comma. Minus 2.
Ruben DeSmet. You know who that is?
Kangaroot? Huh. Wonder if that's an actual 3-part user doing this. Oh yeah, cleaned up version of the patch we are currently using on standalone center installation. Wow, looks like a user that actually submitted
Oh, wow.
a patch.
I feel bad
Nice.
that we haven't done anything.
Oh, since November, yeah. Would have been at least nice to give some feedback on it.
Ruben DeSmet. It's a good name. Okay, so we've digressed a bit. So we've got 2 new cores. I mean, I feel like that's helped somewhat. Could probably use another core.
This is my plan, but I just have to review a lot more. So, it's that on my list.
It's a stare thing. I don't know. This has at least been kind of stable. It hasn't gotten worse in the last 6 or 8 months, but it hasn't gotten better. I know, and it's like when we're having the whole discussion about, okay, we're not writing elastic recheck queries. Well, it's because I'm just trying to get through and merge what I can and comment on what I can't. And so that kind of falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look at Matt Reedman has that clean up the homepage.
Yeah, I saw that.
Just good Lord, this thing needed some love.
And apparently we're not going to love no matter what.
It's gonna be client yelling. I get it, no need to be in all caps.
Where was that?
I'm surprised I didn't notice this week.
He's been busy in a lot of projects lately.
Yeah, he gets on rolls and just he gets a lot done.
Let's see what he brings.
Center line.
Cinder client.
I'm going to rebase it just to get the. If I did a recheck, would that work? It has a plus, so probably not. I have to rebase it. I want to
To get the
regenerate the
output.
docs, yeah. So
Yeah, a recheck would
Would
cause
do
it. Yeah. And you can rebase, but I doubt there's been anything really to rebase on top of.
Okay, so I guess there's not a lot more to say on that. Just my usual griping.
What's the current list look like? It's just us. And that's it, or
Yeah, you want to pull that back
Stein
up again?
still around too?
Oh, what's the current list look like? Sorry.
List of
So-
cores or list of
It's
reviews
you
being done?
guys. So what I'm getting out of this storyboard discussion is that they moved to a different database and didn't rerun the migrations.
oh, so that's why everything's
So-
broken.
Maybe that's part of it.
Wow, okay.
And the response was, well, it's in my pile of email from Fosden. It's like, okay. Okay, well, I will wait until they rerun our migration and then I will look at it again.
Well, good, maybe it'll magically just start working, it'll be great. No more 500s.
It could happen.
I mean, come on,
And maybe
let's be optimistic here.
maybe the OpenStack client fairy will show up. and
Yeah,
start looking at
at some
OpenStack.
point, yeah.
Oh. Core team, current members. We got Eric, we got Gorka, we got Yvonne, me, John Griffith, Rajat, Sean, Tommy Like, you, Walter, Yukun, and Xing Yang.
Tommy like is gone, right?
Yes, and
Is John still around?
Not in any practical
no.
sense.
But I tried once to remove him and I got backlash from people like, what are you doing? Well, politically, I didn't want to do it, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an
and
inevitability.
he was okay with it, but Shadow Core, what are you doing?
I just want to give him a little more time, see if he, because he had just started the new job. But
Yeah, okay.
I'd say probably now it looks like, yeah, he's not going to have time to do reviews. So what you gonna do?
What you gonna do when they come for you?
Mm-hmm.
Bad boys. Yeah, and I was a little frustrated with some of Tommy Like's review choices. So I've been watching that.
Yeah, it's kind of become more of an issue with less people doing core reviews. Is we gotta try to avoid patches by someone from a company having two cores reviewed by the same company and approved.
The good old days where Walt and Kurt would try to sneak stuff by. I don't have a strong need to go out and remove people right now, but let's maybe readdress in Denver.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to do it.
I seem to also recall seeing some stale stuff in other lists. I'm trying to remember where.
Like list of people in groups.
Yeah, I was running an ACL somewhere that had some suspicious people.
Cinder client patches running the functional tests. Doc change.
Oh,
So, all right, we're gonna put up a patch to them.
okay.
John and Sean and I are Shinder release.
Yeah, like what is that?
Oh,
And why is Griffith in there?
the release per project release groups used to be used when in that interim phase between RC and final release, where there was a separate group of people that had
Yeah.
rights to.
Well, we have Cinder Specs core sitting out there too, which we probably just need to delete.
We do have different people that can approve specs versus patches.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah,
the
we
list
always
is you and
have,
Griffith.
for whatever reason.
Is it also?
No, I should be on there.
It's you and Griffith and Cinder core. Because we got rid of that idea a long time ago.
Oh, and Cinder Core. Okay, so yeah, if Cinder Core is part of that group, then that's pretty redundant.
Well, yeah, because we did that and it was
Yeah.
really dumb and it really pissed off some people because it was a ridiculous thing to do and then we stopped doing it.
Okay.
What is Cinder Fusion Compute?
Yeah, no, I guess I'd be fine getting rid of that group and just having one group.
Well, how do we change what uses that then? Sarah?
It's in
Yeah.
project config somewhere probably.
Config, Garrett,
ACLs.
I mean, I think the answer is that nothing actually does use it anymore.
I think it is in the config files for Garrett. But it's effectively the same group. So I guess we don't need to change anything because it is the same group.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, it's broke when 5 years from now, John Griffith can cut Cinder releases. But, whatever you want to do. I thought I added all of Cinder core to the DevStack plugin core things for Ceph and NFS, but
I think you added.
it looks like I added you to one and Jay's in one of them. And I think I had intended to just add Cinder core to that stuff. Well, I wanted somebody, because it was at one point just like 2 or 3 people. And I didn't want Cinder's CI to fall apart whenever like 2 Red Hatters went on vacation or something. That's why I was trying to get, that's why you got added, Sean. Because I think that was when you were PTL.
Mhm.
I find whenever 2 Red Hatters go on vacation, all hell breaks loose.
Can you finish this one through? It's 15:07.
Oh, wait.
There from here.
Oh, the release?
Yeah, I can.
Because it's a stable release, there's a separate stable release team, which is basically Tony Breed's.
Okay.
And so the policy is,
One-man team.
he reviews every Monday. So we give until Monday, and then if he doesn't get around to it, then we'll just
Okay.
approve it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
There's only that one bug fix patch in there, so it's not
It's not a big deal.
there shouldn't be any contentious, question about whether it's appropriate for a stable release, but
Yeah.
that's the policy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Is that holding up anything for?
There's customer bugs that are relying on that fix getting in, fiber channel scanning, that Gorka spent a lot of time in and backported.
I'll approve it.
It can wait till Monday, but it's
Sure.
fine. Yeah, just
Okay.
stick with the normal process.
Okay. Yeah, if it's affecting customers or blocking something else, we can push it through, but
Okay.
if there's not a huge rush for it, then we can wait.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else on review participation? No? Okay. One thing, okay, do people want to take okay, I'm saying okay a lot.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Do people want to take a brief break?
Okay.
Okay. After that, can we talk a little bit more about what we're going to do with Cinderlib, since we opened a can of worms and then never closed it?
Well, it seemed to mostly be stuck on figuring out how to do stuff with
Yeah.
projects and PyPy.
I'd still like that to create an Etherpad, get down the issues.
So can we create an Etherpad and get down some issues to at least like investigate?
I was hoping that Orca would just do that overnight.
Yeah.
Do
I
we-
think our only option is to create another repo.
Yeah.
Put it in there, really.
That's
And then we deal with all the,
That might
without
be the faster way to do it than.
without doing some ugly hack on a release script. That's really the only correct way to do it.
We can always merge it into.
Yeah.
Slacking off a little bit.
Yeah, except then we'll have to have the whole debate again then,
Right.
instead of just figuring it out. I don't know. I don't know enough about that tooling to know what the easiest thing is to do. So.
Should we put discussing that on the agenda for first thing tomorrow and drag Gorka in?
Good.
Good? Well, I mean, He's logged in, but I don't think he's alive.
What?
Gorka. Oh, Gorka. No. He. Well, maybe I'll put it on the discussion list for first thing tomorrow and see if we can at least get the Etherpad put together for it. Okay.
Sounds good.
So I was going to ask about the release stuff again. So like looking at the stable Rocky, we've got like a full screen of changes since the last release. And for a while, people were, right, they wouldn't repackage until there was a release done. I mean, for Red Hat, that's not the case anymore, I don't think.
Yeah.
So we're not as concerned, but I'm wondering whether we should.
Well, what we decided we would do was that, and I was the one trying to do this, was that we were just going to cut them monthly,
Oh,
regardless of whether it was like one patch or 20 or whatever.
Okay.
Which actually seemed to work pretty well, as long as I like remembered to do it.
Well, I
And
could
the nice-
take over
and the nice
putting
thing
up the
about-
patches for that if you want.
Well, the nice thing about that is if we know that there's always going to be one in a couple weeks,
Right.
you don't get into all this like, well, we really need to get this in here before we do this release. And like,
Right.
if they keep flowing, then you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good for a while when you were doing that. It was monthly. It was kind of nice having everything out. So if you want to take that over, that'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's put it on my calendar. I'm sure you do.
So you're going to take over remembering to do stable
Put up the
releases.
release patches, and I'll just
Okay.
ping you, and you can plus the release patch, and then Sean can approve it.
Yeah.
We do that for Brick and Cinder.
We actually
Yeah, so the
probably, we're probably behind on the client again, like we seem to always be.
Cinder client always gets.
We always
Forgotten.
forget, yeah, we always forget to release the client, like when we
Yeah.
really should.
Well,
that
then now this release, the release team is starting
So we just
automatically
did
proposing
I just, pushed.
library
Okay.
releases. So I think we did get Cinder client release out there. As long as there's something more than changing Google jobs, we were proposing releases automatically.
Looks like we did one in October. It's not bad. There's not been a whole lot of stuff since then.
Yeah.
Oh, we still haven't released my amazing bash completion fix. Can you get that in there?
Yeah, we get to get that out.
And FYI, looking at PBR, which is what we use for describing and building the packages, it's basically impossible to do two packages within one repository because it actually uses versioning, which is based in the Git commit messages and labels
Oh, right.
Yeah.
for versioning the packaging. So that's a done deal.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we couldn't even hack something.
No, we couldn't.
Unless it supports submodules, but I don't.
I suppose we could still hack something where it takes it completely out of the repo into its own. And
What could possibly go wrong?
yeah.
So it sounds like cinder lip has to live by itself.
Yeah, I
Well,
think so.
which means we really have to make sure that we build the right unit test jobs and everything so that that actually works.
Yep.
The thing that's unfortunate about it is I'm not sure there's a way to do it where you don't always end up, if you change something in Cinder, where there's some window where CinderLib is broken until you go update it,
Right.
which was the whole reason we didn't want to do it this way. And I'm not sure you can really avoid that. But if we have the right test jobs everywhere, we'll at least know when it happens.
So we could run. Thinking maybe we should run, if we ran the CinderLib tests in Cinder using the latest published CinderLib all the time. Would we-
It wouldn't
But it
catch
wouldn't
a
catch-
commit that just happened.
Yeah,
Like, I
But
think the
is that-
problem is,
What are we trying to catch? We're trying to catch changes in Cinder
Cinder
that
that-
break CinderLib.
which is mostly driver
Cinder.
API compatibility kind of changes, which are rare in general.
Yeah.
But that's the main idea.
It's rare, and this is still better than it being in Gorka's own personal repo. And
Oh,
Yes.
no, it's, yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to think through what it should look like.
Yeah.
The problem is you end up where CinderLib always has to be secondary non-voting or whatever in Cinder, because if it wasn't, you could never change anything.
Yeah.
But, you know, we can make a daily periodic job in CinderLib, presumably, that runs unit tests or whatever it needs to run to probably functional tests.
And we can at least go back a month later when we realize and find out when it broke.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know what kind of, I don't know how frequent CinderLib releases are going to be, because I don't know how much the code, I don't know how often the code's going to be changing in there. But
Yeah, I can imagine initially finding little bugs and things like that, but I would expect after a little while it would be pretty stable.
It should stabilize after a while.
yeah, because I'm not sure if it's actually aiming to even be tied to like normal OpenStack release cycles, or if that doesn't really even matter.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of reason that it really needs to be, most likely.
it might be nice if it is.
So is CinderLib going to be tied to a specific version of Cinder?
I think
Yeah,
it has to be.
It would have to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So how is the packaging going to handle that? So when you install CinderLib via IP, there's no necessarily Cinder
So-
IP package associated.
probably
with
when
that
you
version,
install
right?
CinderLib from IP, you're probably just not going to pull in any drivers, I assume. I don't know, but I was trying to solve this. I have some work in progress stuff in the RPM world to solve this same problem, because the requirements in our product are that we're going to install, if you install the CinderLib RPM, we want to pull in Cinder drivers, but not the Cinder service, which means that now I'm working on an RPM split in Cinder to put the drivers over here and the service over there,
Oh, wow.
because that's kind of what we really need.
so maybe Vault will have an additional argument for getting
No.
drivers out of
All
the
right, finally, I win. Finally, I knew it.
Never gonna do that. Oh,
Hit install.
God. I can't.
Thanks, Eric.
We're just
Thanks.
depressed, Eric.
Way to go.
I don't even, what?
Way to go.
All your fault. So,
So if drivers were in their own repo that was managed by us, we could easily do that, right? But I can't imagine all of the CI issues that we'd run into with just splitting those out. Cinder patch kickoff, all those.
We also end up with another, one of the big problem, I mean, not to litigate this for the 50th time, but one of the big problems with this theory is that we don't have a defined driver API. It's like a contract. And then if you have stuff in another repo, then it's a big nightmare if you want to change the driver API and how to synchronize it between Cinder and the drivers and all that. Even if it's one that we manage, you still have to do something with that.
Yeah. Talk about versioning that and all the nightmares that entails. Although considering that the API itself from the volume manager to the driver hasn't changed much in a very long time. But we have a book on our drivers. I just went through every single one of them and modified them.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
I think it's going to keep changing though when we fix a few things. I mean, there's a few things we need to change in there where I think we can tweak the API to remove some of this random database stuff going on in drivers. Because I think if you do that, just because we don't, have an API that pushes and pulls the right data somewhere.
How many drivers are actually touching the database
It's
still?
quite a lot, actually.
I
Well,
didn't think it was.
We kind of gave up on, like, we keep saying, like, avoid it, but, like, drivers keep doing it.
Yeah.
And there's reasons to do it, and we could probably do some work to avoid half of the reasons, but we just haven't. A lot of them do it to persist, like, admin metadata that's used to hold some piece of information that they needed to put somewhere about a volume.
Yeah, I remember having that argument with John ages and ages ago about drivers should never do that either.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the first things I tried to do because I forget what it was in the 3-part driver. We wanted to save some. The mapping of the UUID to the volume name.
Right.
And we needed to store that somewhere. I ended up finding a secret place.
Well, we have a field for that.
Yeah, we added provider.
Yeah, that
ID or
was
something.
much
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. But there's other cases that are pretty reasonable, and a lot of them just indicate holes in our driver API that we should really probably just fix the API. We just don't ever look at that.
Yeah. I remember when I was at IBM, one of the changes they were looking at with one of their drivers, for whatever reason, when they instantiated the driver the first time, they wanted to find all of the volumes that were created by that driver in the Cinder database for some bizarre reason.
Yeah.
And I don't remember why they needed to do that.
Well,
that just seems, just don't do
the
that.
whole concept of blocking DB stuff in drivers also kind of went backwards when we started passing versioned objects everywhere. Because we used to pass dips everywhere in the drivers, and they would have to go really explicitly try to get to the DB, but now they can just tweak an object and hit that save. And, it's a whole different kind of thing.
That was kind of a mess too. I went through the 3-part drivers at one point trying to convert everything to using the notation for the version objects, and it just cascaded into a nightmare. So
we've done it most places now, I think.
What next?
Gone through all the topics that were out there, other than figuring out what to do with CinderLib. I had coordinated patch review time Here's the next item of business.
Yeah.
Close out another 60 or so.
Well, I got a patch review we can talk about if we want to do that.
Sure.
RBD multi-attach.
Mm.
It's fun.
Mhm.
I think there was some discussion around this that happened like a while ago that I didn't participate in. But, so we might just have it again.
Good Lord, this thing needed some the homepage change.
So RBD multi-touch. Are we going to talk about this right now?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, I just
Good Lord.
so the problem with RBD multi-attach and why we're finally trying to do this in Stein as opposed to whenever we added multi-attach.
Multipath.
The whole difficulty with this is that in Ceph, for now and the foreseeable medium-term future, multi-attach is incompatible with replication in Ceph at the Ceph layer. So the Cinder driver has to have enough smarts in it to do same things when you try to request stuff that doesn't work together, basically.
All right, John had a patch out there, didn't
Well, so John had a patch up, and John's patch took the Let's Land multi-attach initial cut at it, and what the patch did was it said, if you have a multi-attach volume and you try to retype it, I don't. Anyway. So what his patch said was if you have a multi-attach volume, you try to retype it to non-multi-attach, I think. It just says, sorry, you can't do that.
Oh, yeah.
And Sean objected to it, if you even remember this.
Yeah, kind of.
Because you didn't like the feature.
I couldn't remember the details, but
Yeah, you didn't like
yeah.
the feature constraint of not being able to do that.
Yeah.
And so John's been working on fixing that limitation, but it's a giant pain in the butt because what you have to do to fix this is there's like 5 or 6 flags on RBD volumes that we're interested in that have to do with different capabilities in RBD related to performance and stuff. And what he's got to do is when you do the retype to turn off or to turn on multi-attach, take all these nice flags that you wanted to have and put them in some field and say this is what you used to have, so that if you turn off multi-attach, you can like put them back, which is conceptually like it kind of makes sense, but it's a big pain. But I think he's coding that like this week. Well, I think he was, but then I think he might not even be in the office today, so I'm not sure. My request was whether we could just say we'll do that in the next release and go ahead and merge this, which is what I would prefer to do. Because I'm not sure that holding it up for that retype case is that useful, because so many people keep saying that. I mean, I've had to reject like 6 patches where people keep trying to turn this thing on. And there's obviously people wanting this feature for RBD.
Yeah, and I think they didn't have a strong.
Which patch are you talking about?
595.827.
I don't think I had a strong objection. I was just asking, really, isn't there a better way we can handle this?
Well, I think I got the impression that you guys had some discussion when I was on vacation or something, and I don't know what happened there, but there we go. So I mean, obviously we need to have this work smoothly between all these features eventually anyway. But my assumption is that in the short term, just for Stein, it would be beneficial enough to just land it with the ability to use it at all, based on just the years of people continually showing up saying they want this thing.
In the release note does state, it should be noted that replication multi-attach is mutually exclusive. Do you see people using replication with Ceph?
Well, they're not yet. I think we
Seems
have
to be the story with that
some
feature.
product work around that coming for some release. I forget which release it is, but We weren't really expecting to see a lot of that until we did a lot more deployment kind of development on how to install it, set it up, and everything. I mean, we don't have customers really using any replication stuff much at this point, so, as far as I know. I think they will be eventually, but we haven't quite gotten there yet.
I'm going to abandon the conflict patch of relocate return of crate volume and clone an RBD driver that you -2 in August of last year.
Oh, I don't remember what that is.
Yeah.
I want application and one multi-attach. No.
Oh, I do remember this now that I looked at it. It says this guy writing bad Python code.
Yeah.
The other nice thing, of course, about landing this is that it gives us another software backend that we can test multi-attach with.
Yeah.
Which is handy.
Works for me.
Okay, so if somebody wants replication, okay, so replication and multi-attach are a per volume attribute.
Yes.
And if you